With BIGREDONE strengthened with more players on map 24, I had asked my fellow Desert Order Alliance PREUSSEN for support. Today's minimap shows the arrival of the first home bases. The situation is very unfavorable. I cannot send supplies from my home base because I cannot cross the river in the north. From my settlement area, the supply route is extremely long, and during the journey, my troops are of course highly endangered. Nevertheless, I dare to try and bring some groups to the home bases of my comrades-in-arms on the left highway. Together we attack a base of Fudge 1. It has no flags and is therefore a feasible target. At the beginning it goes also quite well in front. Then two stealth fighters appear in the sky and strafe our cannon fodder. My gazelles, my BRDM-2 and my two Su-9 planes quickly take one of the two disruptors out of the sky. The other disappears into invisibility. We don't have a detector helicopter with us. Shortly after, the stealth plane comes again, but it is not a serious threat to our cannon fodder. Then a couple of low-cost planes come and attack the two 2S7 howitzers. Their loss is bitter. Over the extremely long supply route, I can't just bring in more, even if I would accelerate their construction. Against the planes, they would never reach their target. The target base has 9 defense towers left only. We keep trying, since the remaining units still can do quite good damage to a base without flags. Then several groups of Gazelle helicopters arrive. This brings our attack to a standstill. We haven't found a means against these helicopters yet, especially since you can't really build air defenses in a home base. It was the first attempt to gain a foothold on this map. Unfortunately, it failed. Then BIGREDONE attacks the isolated base in the north. Especially Cutter brings lots of AML-60. It was my goal that BIGREDONE should lose as much material as possible there. Just getting there gobbles up a huge amount of food. In the attack base itself, I could build a defense tower immediately because I lacked concrete. Every group lost there can't hurt me elsewhere. Thus, I'm even happy about this attack, even if every lost base reduces my group limit again. In the nearby home base, I built the cheapened T-55 tanks to at least somewhat disrupt the attack. In the settings, I make sure that my home base will safely disappear 15 minutes after logging out. as long as possible, I still disrupt the battle in front of my base a bit, without really being able to do anything. So many groups of AML plus the helicopters from Fudge 1 are just too much. The supply route from below is definitely too long, and for ground troops it is also made more difficult by bridges. When the base finally falls, I log out, so that my home base is not destroyed next. After all, they already have all the necessary troops on site. When I log in again, my home base is ideally located on the left highway between the opponent's bases and uncovers a base without flags that is a bit behind. Immediately we attack this base together, with everything that can be produced quickly in local home bases. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of this unspectacular fight. It is only important that the first Preussen player has a base on this map. Enrico immediately expands it very well. This is a very important milestone. Bennett KLDXK lands with his home base on the other side of the map in the middle of the opponent's bases. Their side towers spot him immediately, and BIGREDONE sends the helicopter armada there to destroy the small, weak home base. Thus, Bennett KLDXK is banished to the newest map for the next 5 days and cannot support here for the time being. Our player Cell manages to capture a base in the upper left. This was a dramatic battle. Our Cell really is a fox. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage on this. I would have loved to show it, but at least this means that there are already 2 Preussen players on this map. When we also destroyed the base above, Enrico wants to take it with his APC. He has almost done it when several groups of helicopters appear and destroy not only the APC. Once again, I want to help my teammates on the left highway to capture a base there. I prepare an army, including air defense, and send it on its way. Unfortunately, the group is discovered early by the opponent. Nevertheless, I move on. If you never try, you will never succeed. I make it to the lower left corner of the map. Then 25 groups of helicopters of the players Fudge 1 and Taurus attack. My entire army is completely wiped out. My air defenses are powerless against this overwhelming force. In such quantities, the helicopters are simply too powerful. This is also due to the mechanism implemented in the game. The air defense does not attack a helicopter until it is destroyed, as any base would do. Instead, if there are several groups in range, it attacks one, then another, and so on. In addition, each unit needs another hit besides the hits to destroy the unit's life points to really destroy the unit. If this hit is missing, the unit survives with 0% and can be repaired for free at the crane, for example. Due to the distribution of the fire, especially mobile helicopters are very often left with 0%. Even with 0%, they fire like all the others. In this case, the fire of our air defense was spread over 25 enemy groups. They ended up with almost no losses, and our entire army was wiped out. These helicopter messes were a real problem for us. We couldn't fight fire with fire, because our group limits didn't allow us to build 25 groups of gazelles. We had to work with much smaller quantities at first. In a situation like this, the key is not to give up. Again and again I tried to get my 2 S7 officers to the home bases on the left highway. Finally, I succeeded, and we attacked another base there, even though it had flags. Meanwhile, BIGREDONE had heavily secured the bases on the left highway, especially in the vicinity of the base already taken. Our attack also seemed to be progressing successfully at first. Then the helicopters of Taurus and Ferret 707 appeared again. This completely stalled our attack. Once again, we had no suitable answer to the huge amounts of helicopters. Would we find a means against this helicopter superiority? Or would we lose again the bases we already had taken? Is it even possible to make a step against such a large alliance that can build helicopters on several maps? That's what the next episodes of this series will show.